After being blacklisted online due to a plagiarism incident, I publicly announced my decision to stop writing. My boyfriend, who had been indignantly criticizing me, was taken aback. "What are you doing? Didn't you say there were still a lot of debts to pay off?" His white moonlight and the so-called victim of the plagiarism incident, Adriana, also panicked. "Camille, you don't need to punish yourself like this. I'm willing to give you a chance to start over." I looked at the flashing cameras in the audience. My expression unwavering. In my past life, these two had humiliated me while collaborating to steal my creative work. In the end, the words I had painstakingly written earned Adriana the reputation of a genius writer. This time, I immediately cancelled the pen name I had used for 6 years. I had had enough of this cramped rental life. It was time to return home and inherit my family's wealth. As for Adriana, I wanted to see how she would complete the remaining half of her work. "Ms. Camille, you keep saying you'll provide evidence to prove you didn't plagiarize. Where's the evidence? As a former reader of yours, I really don't want to believe you could do something like this. Were your previous works really written by you?" Faced with countless microphones reaching out to me, I hesitated for a moment, my heart racing. I had been reborn. Back to the day I was holding this press conference to clear my name. In my previous life, my boyfriend's white moonlight had plagiarized a novel based on my own unrequited love story. On the day of the book review, it shot up to the top of the website's ranking, creating a bestseller myth in the youth campus literature genre. After being reposted by major marketing account, countless netizens exclaimed that it was tear-jerking. I planned to showcase my drafts as proof. However, on the day of the press conference, someone had emptied my files, leaving no trace behind. I experienced unprecedented online harassment, receiving flower wreaths, black and white photos, and terrifying packages every day. I gritted my teeth and continued to create, but ultimately, I was killed by overzealous haters who found me and stabbed me multiple times. I had only hesitated for a moment when my boyfriend, Bachelor, couldn't contain his anger. "Camille, if you say Adriana slandered you, then show us the evidence. Don't just throw accusations around." He glared at me, but I could see a flash of satisfaction in his eyes. Of course, he knew what was in my files. He wanted to see my reputation ruined while Adriana became the new generation's popular author. I lowered my eyes, picked up my laptop, and walked to the projection screen. Turning it on, I prepared to share what I had in front of everyone. The next second, in front of everyone's astonished gaze, I cancelled the pen name I had used for 6 years. Bachelor Adriana stood up immediately. "I am unjustly accused today, and evidence has been destroyed by someone with ill intentions, making it difficult for me to defend myself. This pen name is invalid starting today. I will stop writing and will no longer engage in anything related to the online literature circle." After I finished speaking, I grabbed my laptop and attempted to leave, but Bachelor rushed in front of me to block my way. "Didn't you say you still have a lot of debts to pay off? You can't just quit writing. Didn't you say that writing was your biggest dream?" Adriana also panicked, coming closer with tears in her eyes. "Camille, you don't need to punish yourself like this. I'm willing to give you a chance to start over." I looked at the two of them performing their act with a cold smile. In the next moment, Adriana's suddenly bitter lip and knelt down in front of me. "Camille, I beg you not to quit over such a small matter. Your readers will definitely not let me go." She sobbed. "I can delete everything. Let's pretend none of this ever happened. If you quit, my sin will be great, and I won't write anymore." The sound of camera shutters clicked, focusing on her. My former gold medal editor couldn't help but walk over to pull her up. "Adriana, what are you saying? Why are you kneeling to a plagiarist? She brought this upon herself. You just signed a major contract with the company. Don't forget you still have work to complete." I was too tired of being attacked here and decided to leave the scene, to avoid being surrounded by reporters. I took a detour and called a taxi from the back door to return to my rental apartment. On the way back, my Weibo notifications kept popping up. I opened it and found that 4 out of the top 10 trending topics were about me. Camille plagiarized Adriana, kneeling under pressure. Adriana's shadow writer. The deranged marketing accounts denied all of my previous work, claiming that I had stolen Adriana's ideas and had threatened her to be my shadow writer. The comments on my Weibo were filled with insults. This is disgusting. I can't believe I supported a plagiarist. I watched the live press conference. Camille didn't dare to say a word and even forced Adriana to kneel. At least you have the self-awareness to quit writing. Otherwise, I would have destroyed you. Even her boyfriend has come out to accuse her. Camille, what have you done? I think she's just run out of money and wants to escape. I support Adriana in taking her to court. The comments section was filled with vulgarities. In contrast, Adriana's Weibo followers were soaring. With a bunch of encouraging comments, I commented, I hope you can continue to update daily and finish the latter half without disappointing your readers. I knew I didn't have much of my manuscript left. Adriana was too anxious, worrying that I hadn't completed my drafts, so she made the first move. But the foreshadowing and Easter eggs I had set up earlier were something she could not complete. Exposing her was just a matter of time. When I returned to my rental apartment, it was a cozy and comfortable space of about 90 square meters. The old walls were adorned with photos arranged in heart shapes. There were pictures of me and Bachelor, but each one was secretly taken and developed without his consent. He never agreed to take photos together, nor did he post anything on social media, disappearing during our anniversaries to give me the cold shoulder. Over the years, I had been paying the rent and utilities, and I had covered most of our meals, shopping, and outing. I immediately, under the pressure of paying the breach of contract penalty, proposed to my landlord to terminate the lease. I threw out what needed to be discarded and packed up as quickly as possible, just as I was busy with everything. I opened it to find Bachelor and Adriana standing there. Camille, are you moving out? Adriana stepped in and pretended to hold my hand warmly, but I coldly pulled my hand away. Bachelor looked at me with disdain, his contempt evident. Moving? As far as I know, her father passed away from illness a long time ago. All these years, she's been working hard to pay off her father's medical debts with the money she earned. She can barely afford the $2.00 monthly rent on this place. It'll have to be to some rundown studio. I stared at him expressionlessly and asked. Bachelor sneered. Apologize to Adriana and publicly admit you plagiarized. My brow itched. Was this even something a person should say? I angrily questioned him. Bachelor, don't you know the truth? You've been living off me all these years, and now you have the nerve to say that. Bachelor's face didn't show the slightest hint of softness. He spoke with righteousness. You're just an unemployed person without parent. While Adriana has been the princess adored by everyone since school, I will help her get whatever she wants. You might not know, but Adriana's parents are both middle school teachers. She's 1,000 times better than you in every way. My boyfriend, who had been with me since college, was now using the most venomous words to attack me. He only knew I came from a single-parent family and that I'd moved out due to ideological differences with my mother. What he didn't know was that my mom was the head of a multinational corporation's Asia-Pacific region. After my dad passed away, he left us an estate worth 9 figures. If I hadn't chosen to stay here to avoid inheriting the family business, I would have been someone Bachelor could never read. Seeing that I didn't respond, Bachelor thought his words had hit their mark, sneering as he continued. Some people are born princesses. No matter how hard they work, will only ever be lowly servants. If I were you, I would leave here in disgrace and leave all your belongings to Adriana. What are you waiting for? Get on Weibo right now and publicly apologize to Adriana. I raised my hand and gave Bachelor a solid slap. I hit him so hard that his head turned to the side, and his eyes widened, instantly filled with bloodshot veins. Camille, you dare to hit me? Adriana shrieked, taking 2 steps back to pull out her phone to record. However, I was quicker and knocked her phone away, swinging my suitcase and hitting both of them aside. I vented my frustration, smashing whatever was nearby. I wasn't planning to keep anything anyway. If you like my things so much, then you can have them all. The place was in chaos, with smashed items scattered everywhere. I opened the door and left the tiny place I had lived in for 3 years. I called my mom. It had been years since we last contacted each other, but as soon as my call went through, she answered immediately. At that moment, tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. In my previous life, after I graduated from college and left in anger, I never had the chance to say a word to my mom until I was murdered. I couldn't bear to think how devastated she would be to hear about my death. This time, I just wanted to return to being her pampered child. Just come home. Just come home. My mom's voice trembled, and by the end, she could only repeat this for word. Soon, I boarded a plane back to Shanghai. Before boarding, I took a quick glance at Weibo and found that Adriana had once again posted this ingenuous message. Sorry everyone, I'm going to take a break for a while. Recent events have made me feel a bit overwhelmed. Camille has always been a senior I greatly admired. I want to take some time off to adjust myself. Debbie, the editor who had once cared for me, quickly retweeted her post. Fans, please give Adriana some time to come up with better work. Next month, we will hold a fan meeting event in Shanghai. Everyone is welcome to join. It was clear that they were trying to promote Adriana as a popular author. I sighed, turned off my phone, and fell into a deep sleep. When I got off the plane, my mom had come to pick me up in a Rolls-Royce with a driver and bodyguard. She said she had heard about what happened and was preparing to find friends to handle Pia while contacting a lawyer to file a lawsuit. We will pursue this matter to the end. I will not allow my precious daughter to suffer any injustice. I lay in my mom's arms as she rubbed my back, her chin gently resting on my forehead. The car was filled with exquisite dishes, including my favorite drink. My mom was afraid I would be hungry and had started preparing as soon as she received my call. I hugged my mom tightly. Don't worry. There's no need to go through all this trouble. I smiled and said, soon, the real plagiarists will get their comeuppance. Moving back into our big villa felt incredibly refreshing. I didn't have to wake up early to buy groceries or prepare 3 meals a day. I didn't have to wash my own clothes. My bank account was filled with endless zeros that I could never spend completely, and I no longer had to worry about monthly rent and expenses. My mom specially set up a study for me, filled with walls of books and the highest spec computer to support whatever I wanted to do. Every day, I could wake up early, bask in the sun by the floor-to-ceiling windows, do some yoga and beauty routines, and enjoy a lavish meal for lunch. In the afternoons, I would go shopping for afternoon tea, learn horseback riding, yoga, and golf. At night, I would enjoy a glass of red wine and take a bath in a spacious tub, lulled to sleep by a hired sound therapist. My physical and mental well-being greatly improved, surpassing my previous state by several levels. However, as Adriana continued her prolonged absence from writing, discontent began to emerge online. People started to question, can Adriana even write? Could it be that what Camille said was true? There's no reason for such a long hiatus when she was so popular. She has no professional ethics. Is she just playing with everyone? Hurry up and refund. Adriana grew anxious, increasing her activity on Weibo. I knew her well. She'd relied on her pretty appearance and on men since childhood, lacking any real talent. Making her write even a few words would be harder than killing her. Moreover, my book was entirely based on my own experiences, telling the story of unrequited love for a senior from back in the day. Even though Bachelor knew me well, he could only relay individual events to Adriana. Under the pressure, Adriana reluctantly wrote a chapter with Bachelor's guidance. However, the steep decline in her data and the flood of negative comments soon led her to delete it. She then turned to Weibo, claiming that she was ill and undergoing surgery, truly having the will but not the strength. Yet she promised that she would deliver a work that would satisfy everyone at the offline meeting. One day, while I was browsing her mess, thinking about which bag would match my new clothes, my editor Debbie suddenly messaged me, saying she wanted to meet Camille. I see your IP address is in Shanghai. I happen to be here on a business trip. Let's have a good chat. Perhaps I've misunderstood you. My heart raced. I thought I was about to be vindicated. But I didn't expect Debbie to come to me with time to persuade me to continue helping Adriana finish her work. At the coffee shop, Debbie scrutinized my new Chanel outfit, snickering disdainfully. Name your price, Camille. I know your family situation is difficult. How much would it take for you to continue writing? Adriana is our website's golden ticket. She has already generated massive profits for us, and the site must keep her. In the silent minutes that followed, felt like an eternity. Now that your pen name is cancelled, you have no former readers, and you achieved success only because the site promoted you heavily. Abby pushed her coffee cup aside and leaned forward. How about 500,000? That should be enough for you to upgrade your outfit and help you continue with what you want to do. Her meaningful gaze darkened my expression completely. What did Debbie think of me? Did she even know what I was doing in Shanghai? Fine. I squeezed out between my teeth. No problem. I've already prepared the outline. I just need 3 days, and I'll finish the remaining 100,000 words for you. Debbie stood up in excitement. Great. It's a deal. I'll wait for you here in 3 days. I grabbed my bag and turned to leave. I opened my computer and started writing according to the outline I had drafted in my notebook. Perhaps due to the recent break, my creativity and energy surged. 3 days later, I submitted the manuscript to her, my eyes heavy with dark circles. Debbie was overjoyed but still cautiously reviewed the manuscript in front of me. After confirming there were no issues, she breathed a sigh of relief, transferred 500,000 to me on the spot, and had me sign a confidentiality agreement. But what Debbie didn't know was that when these manuscripts were uploaded to the website, the formatting would change. There would be a line in the middle of the text that would read, Adriana is the real plagiarist. Upon receiving the manuscript, Adriana seemed to rejuvenate overnight, able to re-ord against haters. She flaunted the word count of her document, angrily declaring, I will never rush to complete a work just for traffic. This bold declaration won her much admiration, and the hall was filled with supportive comment. As I browsed her comment section, one username stood out. This account was all about Adriana, documenting countless train tickets over 3 years and detailing the preferences of girls she had carefully observed. From the historical profile picture, I recognized him as Bachelor. I realized he had confessed his feelings to me upon graduating, just to provoke Adriana. Soon. She had previously stated that she would upload the entire remaining content of the book live, allowing readers to indulge in it all at once. This was incredibly enticing, and on the day of the meeting, the hall was packed. Unknowing passers-by thought a popular star had arrived. Readers waved handmade merchandise signs, and the shouts were deafening. Ah, my Adriana is so beautiful in person. Otis not only has talent but is also stunning. How can others survive? I love your book. Can I get your autograph? I'm going to freak out. When is it being published? I want to buy 10 copies to cherish. Don't crowd. You're blocking my view. In response to the reader's question, Adriana answered according to what Bachelor had taught her. Of course. My senior is amazing. He went abroad right after graduation. He's my white moonlight, my memories of youth. I would only dare to deliberately pass by their classroom after class. He would always be standing in the corridor laughing with others. I looked forward to group running and eating in the cafeteria during break time because I could be closer to him. At that time, I secretly browsed my senior's space with a yellow diamond, seeing him and not daring to look up, pretending to be aloof. He probably doesn't even know I had a crush on him. Adriana's expression was shy and timid as she spoke, reminiscent of a girl secretly in love with her crush. She would lower her eye, as if reliving the pain of unrequited love. Finally, it was time for the most thrilling moment. The large screen projected the remaining manuscript of Adriana's book. This highly anticipated work was finally reaching its conclusion. Readers began to pull out their phones to tip and send tickets for Adriana's book. There were gasps of admiration. Everyone agreed it was a masterpiece, with the latter part even more touching than the earlier sections. Gradually, the sound of sniffles began to emerge, until someone sharp-eyed noticed something wrong. Wait a minute, what does the third page of chapter 98 mean? Why does the opening line seem to connect into one sentence? Adriana is the real plagiarist. The audience erupted in chaos. People started responding. I was wondering where this character name Kin came from. Could it be the original author of this book is someone else? Oh my god. What is this supernatural event? Or is the original author subtly hinting at the truth? Have we been deceived all along? The scene was in an uproar, and the staff quickly attempted to retract the new chapter. But many had already seen it. Book fans were indignant, shouting for Adriana to provide an explanation. And she was quick to react, immediately screaming, "Absurd! This is ridiculous. It can't be. This is my original work. Someone tampered with my manuscript. Who touched my computer? It wasn't like this." But readers quickly fired back at her. Who could touch your computer? Don't you carry it everywhere? If you have the ability, write a side story right here to prove yourself. If the writing style and plot flow are consistent, we'll believe you. Exactly. Hurry up and write. You always say you want to give back to the readers. Writing a side story shouldn't be too hard for you, right? Faced with the overwhelming barrage of microphones, Adriana clutched her chest and feigned a heart attack. She gasped for breath, closed her eyes, and collapsed straight to the floor. The scene erupted in the Taya. Many fans rushed the stage to demand that the deleted chapters be restored. Bachelor was the first to break through the crowd, picking her up and yelling for a doctor. As he rushed out, he brushed past me, and the venue was already in a frenzy as everyone surged to the stage to see the words on the big screen clearly. Adriana herself was no longer the focus of the audience's attention. "Camille, how dare you show up? This is all you're doing." Bachelor's face was terrifyingly dark, and he looked at me like I was his father's murderer. "I know you're jealous that Adriana has my affection, so you've always had it in for her, but your methods today are utterly despicable. You just can't stand to see the person I like doing well. You want to ruin her on purpose. Just wait if anything happens to Adriana today. I'll take your life," he roared at me, reminiscent of a general charging into battle for its beloved. Just as Bachelor was about to shift past me, I spoke up lightly. "Bachelor, do you think I'm with you because I like you?" His body tensed, turning to look at me. "You know that the person I had a crush on went abroad right after graduating from college. The reason I accepted your confession was, first, to heal my wounds, and second," I smiled and pointed at his nose. "You have a small mole here, just like him. But it's a pity. A stand-in can never compare to the real thing." After this fiasco, the website, which initially aimed to create a personal brand and earn a wave of traffic through this event, ended up empty-handed and instead faced a barrage of insults and doubts. People began to dig up the disputes between Adriana and me. Addressing the official website, "Camille has been a best-selling author for years. I had doubts when she was labeled a plagiarist. It was you, the official site, who backed Adriana, that made us choose to believe." Adriana's speech at the fan meeting was completely illogical and lacking in quality, apart from answering a few questions about crushes, but who can guarantee that wasn't a pre-booked script? I saw the article she posted and quickly deleted a while back. It was as childish as something a primary school student would write. For really her level? This is the first time I've seen a website that mixes black and white just for traffic. Refund me if I recharge again. I'm a dog. You should all be ashamed. To drive away your own established author for a plagiarizing hack, this is truly self-inflicted. However, some netizens suggested letting things settle down for a while. The only way to prove Adriana is innocent is for her to write on the spot. Otherwise, she's a plagiarist. But Adriana was always focused on making money through this book to pursue a self-media path. She never put in any real effort. She posted one edited photo after another on Weibo, caring more about compliments on her looks. Now the website realized what had happened, but it couldn't escape the fallout from its plummeting market value. Suffering from the backlash of traffic, in a fit of anger, the CEO directly fired Debbie and took Adriana to various drinking events to seek help. I heard that Adriana was dressed up like a colorful butterfly, and the reasons for that were hard to assess. The website merely wanted to make a desperate struggle for survival. My mom was well aware of the Shanghai circle and had long instructed her friends to ignore it. Coincidentally, the CEO seeking help happened to be my mom. When my mom showed me the invitation message from him, I almost burst out laughing. Sweetheart, this game has gone on long enough. I'll directly refuse him and contact a lawyer to file a lawsuit. How does that sound? I smiled and stopped her. It's fine. Ma, tell him to let Adriana come to this dinner. It's been a while since I'd had a good chat with her. A few days later, Adriana appeared in the hotel lobby, impeccably dressed, with Bachelor accompanying her as her assistant. I was feeding fish at the rockery in the lobby when I heard a loud voice from a distance. Camille? Bachelor strode over, grabbing my arm. Why are you here, haunting me again? His grip hurt, and without hesitation, I slapped him back. Get your dirty hands off me. Is this your family's hotel? Can you be the only one allowed in here? Camille, do you know this hotel charges $888 per person? What right do you have to stand here? Adriana or off all pretense, glaring at me with utter rage. You're nothing but a tenant in a rental apartment. Your boyfriend doesn't love you, and you don't deserve any good things in your life. She relentlessly attacked me, begging her words would cause me pain. But I simply replied nonchalantly, regardless, today I'm here as a guest. And you, are you also here because someone invited you to dinner? You. Adriana was instantly at a loss for words. Her chest heaved with anger as she tried to calm down and sneered. Yeah? It seems like you came to Shanghai to be someone's mistress. How could a place as noble as this allow someone like you in? That's hilarious. Do you know who I'm here to meet? Ms. Feng Xiao, if you're so out of touch. I'm afraid your sugar daddy isn't as impressive as Ms. Damilay's pinky finger. Bachelor immediately joined forces with Adriana, saying, exactly. Camille, don't overestimate yourself. If you're used up and thrown out later, you'll be the one suffering. I looked at him expressionlessly. I was memorizing every single word he said. And I planned to make sure he wouldn't come back today. Who strode in with a few assistants. Ms. I'm Adriana. It's a pleasure to meet you. Adriana rushed over to introduce herself, but my mom didn't even spare her a glance. She walked straight up to me, took my hand, and gently rubbed it in her palm, asking softly, are you cold? What are you doing standing at the door? Go inside and order. Don't you love eating here? From the corner of my eye, I noticed Adriana's expression freeze. Ms. Damilay. I intentionally mimicked Adriana's tone. You go in first. I'll join you shortly. My mom understood my intention and nodded, specifically arranging for the bodyguards to follow me up the stairs. Adriana immediately looked at Bachelor. Why does she seem to be so close to Feng Xiao? Could Feng Xiao be her mother? Bachelor frowned and quickly denied it. How could that be? Look at Camille's shabby appearance. Does she look like the daughter of someone wealthy? I've heard some rich women have really perverted taste. Maybe Feng Xiao is. Before he could finish, I signaled the bodyguards to move him aside. Are you hitting people in broad daylight? I'm calling the police. Ha! Someone come save me. Bachelor was dragged out like a chick, and he quickly lost his nerve. His voice trembling. I came to meet an important person. She won't let you off for treating me like this. However, the trained bodyguards paid no attention. They targeted his clothing and struck him hard, punishing his mouth. Bachelor soon had blood seeping from the corner of his mouth, lying on the ground like a dying dog. Adriana took one look at him and turned her face away in disgust. To her, this guy was just a dispensable sycophant. She'd never cared for Bachelor even a little. Camille, I didn't expect you to be this way. You were just pretending to be weak and pitiful, right? Just as I saw my mom appear at the stairs. Ready to calm down. Adriana quickly grabbed my hand and slapped herself hard, crying out, Ms. Damilay, help me. This Camille not only plagiarized my work but is now threatening me and trying to hit me. Please help me. Entire hall echoed with Adriana's heart-rending cries. She had disheveled hair and a pale face, making it all seem incredibly convincing, stirring protective instincts in anyone who watched. However, she didn't even have time to grasp my mom's hand before being ruthlessly blocked by the bodyguards. Adriana lost her balance and fell to the ground. Ms. Damilay, please. You have to stand up for me. This Camille is too despicable. She's not as innocent as she looked. In private, my mom snapped, her face more terrifying than I had ever seen. A storm brewing in her eyes. You're Adriana. Adriana was taken aback, her breath catching, but she wasn't ready to give up. She weakly said, "It's me, ma'am. Please don't believe what you see online. I've been framed." My mom sneered. "Do you know what relationship Camille and I have?" Adriana's expression froze. Meanwhile, the site CEO had somehow appeared at the hotel entrance, looking flustered and sweaty, his legs shaking. He stumbled in, his voice more pain than crying. "I'm sorry, Ms. Camille. I didn't know Camille was your daughter. We've all offended you." By the end of the day, the CEO threatened Adriana with astronomical penalty fees. Adriana was extremely reluctant, and the CEO directly pressed her head to the ground. "So it was all you little bitch. I was wondering how Camille, a long-standing top author on our site, got dragged into this," he said, his eyes darting as he clenched his teeth. "You shameless, since you can try it. I trusted you so much. I really was too foolish. And we all got played by you." The angrier he got, the more he pulled Adriana's hair and slapped her wife. Adriana's face immediately swelled up, and she broke down crying. The CEO cursed at her. "How dare you cry? You did wrong and can't take responsibility. You've tarnished our site's reputation. Who would dare invest in us after this? You're like a rat dropping ruining a pot of soup. You can't handle the job. Don't take on the burden, and don't dare. I really can't believe there's an author like you. I just Colby watch them. Dog eat dog." I still remembered what Debbie had done to me on behalf of the site. Now he wanted to distance himself? Not a chance. "You still have the face to appear here and immediately go on Weibo and issue an apology." The CEO had clearly come prepared, having already drafted a statement that he forced Adriana to post on Weibo, making her admit to plagiarism and publicly apologize to me. As soon as this Weibo post was released, it quickly ignited trending topics. Facing the unveiled truth, netizens felt regret and fury. "We drove away a good author who writes with heart." The hashtags "apologize to Camille" and "please come home Camille" began to rise continuously. The square was filled with my former fans crying as they reminisced about the days when they first started following my writing. "Camille is truly amazing. She updates 3 times a day without fail, rain or shine. I was just in elementary school back then, and now I'm almost graduating from high school. I've read every single one of her books. I never believed she would plagiarize or hire a ghostwriter. It's so hard. Ever since she stopped writing, there's been no substitute online, and my source of spiritual nourishment is gone. Camille, please come back. I've saved up so many monthly tickets for you, and I'll give them all to you." The CEO presented his phone to my mom like a treasure, thinking she would let it go and help him make a comeback. However, faced with the CEO's calculating gaze, my mom coldly dropped a bombshell. "We've already prepared the evidence. Your website, and this girl. Just wait for the lawsuit." Not only did Adriana's reputation collapse, but the story of Bachelor and Me was also pieced together by fans and spread online. It turned out Bachelor had been pursuing Adriana for many years and was willing to do anything for his beloved goddess. He had even orchestrated this plagiarism incident, effectively swapping places with the real author. Wow! This guy's worse than his comeback, eating from one bowl while eyeing another. I thought he was sacrificing for the greater good, but it turns out he was helping his white moonlight ruin his own girlfriend. This even human? What a beast. Living off someone while harming them. Absolutely disgusting. This couple of dogs should be locked up and left to rot. I've never seen such disgusting people. Ladies, I even found this cumbag's Weibo alt account. He really has been eating both sides. The online harassment and do X Sheng that had once fallen upon me were now directed at Adriana and Bachelor with even greater intensity. Since they had posted too much on Weibo, their specific addresses were easily pinpointed. Bachelor was originally sent to the hospital, but soon he couldn't withstand the pressure from outraged citizens who visited him daily with various tactics. He quickly forced himself to be discharged. He realized that fawning over his white moonlight would yield him nothing. And several times he attempted to reach out to me to reconcile. But how could the angry netizens get him any breathing room? Eventually, he was overwhelmed, left with nothing after paying hefty compensations, and he fled back to his hometown, burdened with illness. As for Adriana, her situation was much worse. Along with the overwhelming online harassment. And one night, upon seeing red paint splattered on her door again, she completely shattered and jumped from her apartment. At that time, I was working with my mom to prepare a new website, aiming to provide every passionate young creator with an equal opportunity. Here, everyone could unleash their imagination and write the stories they wanted. It would be a place where all voices could bloom freely. I thought this was the true essence of literary creation.